In this video, we're going to go over how to visualize points data in QGIS. So as we've talked about in past videos, each of these points have a bunch of different attributes with different values for those attributes as the combine went across the field for this yield monitor layer. Of course, right now, once you just bring a shape file into QGIS, it just shows you a whole bunch of colors, a whole bunch of points that are all the same color, kind of this pinkish or purplish color, which doesn't really give us much spatial information for this layer when you look across the field. But we can change that if we go in and change the properties. So again, like before, if you want to go into a layer to try to edit it, if your toggle editing hasn't been turned on, you can select things, but you can't actually go in or try to change them at all. So if you go up to the toolbar, to the little pencil icon is toggle editing, and you select that, and you can see that now these icons have come into color, and now we can start to edit this layer. Again, as we talked about before, we can select a point, we can go to modify attributes, and if we go, down here, we can see all the different attributes associated with each point for this yield monitor layer. Again, because we're trying to do some yield analysis for this combine yield monitor layer, I think what we're most important or what we're most interested in is the dry yield. So as an example, this point was 43.6 bushels an acre in this soybean yield monitor layer. But we'd really like to be able to take a look at how things vary across the field, which right now we can't. So if you go to your yield monitor layer and you right click and go to properties, it brings up the layer options. So in this case here, we're already on the layer option that we want to change. Symbology or symbols changes the different symbols for this points layer. And because we want to change values on based on an attribute, we want to change it from single symbol to a graduated symbol. We also want to select which attribute we want to change across the field. Again, in this case, we're interested in dry yield, so we're going to go down and select dry yield. We can change the symbol if we want to. There's a bunch of different options. I'm going to leave it on the point symbol for the time being. There's also two options for how we graduate or change things across the field. We can either change by color or by size. For yield map, I think the most practical option is to change by color, so I'll leave it on color. And you can see that it gives us a color ramp going from white to red. It does give us a bunch of different options, and if you go to all color ramps, there's a wide array of options. The nice thing is you can also create your own custom ramp if you want. So I'm going to go to create new color ramp. I'll leave it on a gradient style color ramp. And now I'm going to change the colors for our ramp. So for low yields, low yields are bad, so I'm going to make them red. High yields are good, so I'm going to leave them as green. And you can see this will change the colors across the field as our dry yields change. So they're going to go from red in low areas to green in high areas. And I will select OK. Now we can also change how we make the breaks in those color changes. There's a number of different options. I'm going to leave it on equal counts for now. I find it gives good color separation. The one thing I don't like about it though is that it doesn't show extreme values because they're just grouped in either the smallest or the largest division. But for this purpose, I'll leave it on this as is. You can change classes to give you a bit more granularity when you look across the field. So it gives you 5 to start with. Just for this example, I'll go up to 10 just for some more options and differences in color. And once you're happy with all the changes you've made, you can hit apply and OK. Now we can start to see how we can visualize yield changes across the field. So as you zoom in, I'm going to go to the pan map icon. We can go across the field and see how all these points change as dry yields change across the field. So certainly there's spots where yields have really decreased and points go to red, and there's other areas where yields are good and points are green. As we zoom out in the field, we can also see, which areas of the field tend to be more green, so obviously better yielding areas of the field, and areas of the field which tend to be more red, so generally lower yielding areas of the field as well. The one thing I find interesting about this map is that when we compare yields to the satellite imagery in the background, areas which look kind of poor on the satellite imagery also look poor on this yield monitor layer. So there's a spot in the field there. Also, there's a hole in the field here where we can see yields go down as the combine went in the area of that hole there, which kind of makes you wonder if they were taking both the imagery and the yields from the same year. If you want to visualize the whole field quickly, you can go to Zoom Layer in the toolbar, and you get a snapshot of the whole field. Now, from changing the points, there's one other option you can change, which might improve visibility or visualization of points a little bit. I'm going to go back into the yield monitor layer, go to properties, and under symbols, I'm going to change the size of our points. So I can go to double click on the point, and underneath here I have size. Right now it's at 2. I'm going to go down to 1.2 and hit OK and apply. And it might change visualization or make things a little easier looking. I don't know if it's made big differences here, but maybe it makes visualization a little bit different looking. So in this video, we've gone over how to visualize points data, how to change the colors from one static color across all points to a graduated color system to change by attribute, how to select which attribute you want to change, and how to change the coloring for how you want it to display based on values of that attribute.